Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our live Q&A session. So today I'm going to be asking any questions that you have regarding OET. So please comment on whatever platform you're using in the comments with any questions you have regarding the OET, and I will work through as many questions as I can during this session. Okay. Also, let me know where you are watching from. If you're taking the exam soon, and do make sure, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, to subscribe to it. We've got loads of videos coming up soon. And also our website, specialistlanguagecourses.com. We've got lots of courses on there that can help you. Okay, so please type in the chat any questions you've got. Just while I'm waiting for people to join, I've got a couple of questions that my students asked me in the last couple of weeks, which I thought would be useful to start with. Okay, hi Julian. I can see lots of people coming from different places. Great, watching us on YouTube. Fantastic. Some people on Facebook. Okay. All right. Okay, so any questions, please pop in the comments box that you have regarding OET. Okay, we've got someone from Ghana as well. Any questions regarding OET? So, what we'll do today is answer any questions you have about OET, but I have a good one here about the OET writing. Okay, so we've got one that is, how should I refer to the patient? So I'm assuming this means to refer to the patient by their name. This is one that commonly gets confused. I think if it's an adult, definitely refer to them as with their surname. So you want to use their title and then their surname. So, for example, Mr. Smith or Mr. Tidyman or anything like that. Okay. You can refer to them by their first name, but it's more appropriate to use Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, Ms. Smith. Okay, as indicated in the case notes. All right. Don't generally refer to anyone as the patient. It's a little bit too informal. So at the beginning of a paragraph, use the patient's name followed by he or she as appropriate. Okay. If it's someone who's under the age of 16 or definitely a child, I think you can refer to them by their first name. Okay. Any other questions? Please put in the comments box. Okay, anything you want to know about OET, the writing, the speaking, anything like that. Okay, so we've got a question about the speaking. And it says, how can I begin the role play? Okay. Well, it really depends for OET speaking. So you need to use the role card to depend on the situation. So, for example, if you're in an emergency department and it's quite a serious urgent case, for example, you're not going to do, oh, hello, my name's so and so, how are you today? Oh, that's great. Da, da, da. You want to get straight to the point. Okay, you probably have an idea of why they've come, so you just say, hello, I'm Dr. Joe, or hello, I'm Nurse Joe. I see you've been in an accident today. Sorry to hear that. How are you feeling? Okay, so address the point straight away. Okay. If you're a home visit, then it's going to be different. Okay. So, for example, you just say, "Hi, I'm Nurse Joe. I've come here to visit, to do your home visit today and change your dressings," things like that. Also, there might be an existing relationship. It's not very common for this to happen, but perhaps you are maybe a nurse or doctor who works at the care home, where maybe the daughter or son of a patient has come to talk to you about their mother or father. So you might say, "Nice to see you. I understand you come to talk to me about your daughter." Okay. Okay, we've got a question here. Will you be penalized when you did not hear any word clearly and misspelt it during the listening? So I'm assuming you're talking about listening A. In listening A, minor spellings are allowed, but the word has got to be recognizable. So, for example, this is things like if you write a double T and it's normally one T, perhaps if you put an S instead of a Z, or an F instead of a PH, or things like that. So, if you make a minor spelling but the word is still recognizable, then that's fine. I like to think of it as if you were writing some notes for a colleague and they understood what that word is, then it would be accepted. Okay. But we want to make sure that our spelling is as accurate as possible. So if you are aware that you tend to make spelling mistakes, then that's something that you should work on in your free time. Okay. Right. Any more questions? Please write in the comments box. Okay. Okay, so we've got a question from reading C. Should I read the questions? Sorry, should I read the texts in part C first? Okay. Um, Reading C, you really don't have an awful lot of time. You've got 45 minutes for part B and part C. Okay, which is not an awful lot of time. So you've got just over 30 minutes to do both texts and all the questions. That's 16 questions in part C. So you really don't have time to read the text in detail first and then go and answer all the questions. I would say have a quick look at the title to activate your brain so you're ready for what you're going to listen to, and then just go straight to question one. Read the question, read the paragraph, look at the options, and choose your correct answer. Okay. Uh, okay. We've got another question here. Um, All right, so we've got a question here from Becking Cozy. Hi, how do I approach the multiple choice questions in listening part C? Good question. So this is important to the key to listening in all parts, but particularly with part C, is use the pre-listening time effectively. So you have 90 seconds before you listen to the audio, and you've got 6 questions to read. So what's that? That's over 10 seconds per question and options. So if you've practiced your speed reading, this should be enough time to read the question and the options before you listen. So, this is the first strategy for the multiple choice questions in listening C. Read the question, underline the key words if there are any, be clear. What is the question asking you? Notice the differences between the options, also underlining keywords. Okay, so this is if you find that useful. Some people find it distracting to underline keywords. I find it useful to help me focus. So try a few different strategies in your practice. So notice the difference between the options. And once the 90 seconds is finished, you should have a clear idea of the structure of the presentation or interview. So you should have a rough idea of the order, what topics the speaker is going to talk about. And so you're ready and prepared to listen. And then you need to listen out for links to the questions and options. Okay. And remember that they might mention some of the other options that are incorrect, but not answering the question. So always make sure you've got those questions understood before you listen. Okay, so that you can choose the correct options. Obviously, you can eliminate any obvious wrong ones, but it's a really difficult thing to do, the listening part, see, because you're reading and listening and choosing all at the same time. So it's a very difficult skill to do. Hi, Chibwe from Zambia. Nice of you to join us. If you have any questions about OET, please do let us know in the chat box. Okay, we have another question from God's Glory. What is the accepted least score? Well, this, I'm afraid, is something that we don't have information for. And I think it depends on which exam you're taking and um, which board you're looking for, if you're looking to go to America, Ireland, England, depending. For an OETB, the only thing we do know for sure is that is a 350 score. Now, they don't release that information about whether that's, for example, in writing, whether that's, all fives and all two, all fives and a two for purpose. They haven't released that information because there's a very, very complicated algorithm that they have for each individual paper, because each individual paper might be slightly different in difficulty, etc., etc. So really important to not focus too much on what's the least score, just focus on doing as well as you can. So, in terms of speaking and writing, I would say focus on the top band score. Okay, so for speaking, that's band 6 for the linguistic and 3 for the clinical communication criteria. Look at that criteria and aim to achieve that. The same for the writing. Look at band 6, 7, and aim to fulfill all that criteria. That's what you should be aiming to do. I've got a question from Rajesh. Hi, Rajesh. Do I score if I write lawyer instead of lawyer? So LOWYER instead of LAWYER in listening part A. Good question. I can't say 100% certain, but I think you probably would get the point for that because it's just a very, very minor spelling error. And I think that the reader would be able to understand that that is lawyer as the job. Yeah. And a question from Jojo Thomas. Hi there. What's the best introduction in the writing task? That is a very good question. There's no one answer. It really depends on the task. Okay. You've got to approach each task differently. The strategy I use with my students is a 2 sentence strategy. Depending, obviously, you've got to do it based on what the situation is. But what you want to include is who you're writing about and how they're connected to you. So that's sentence 1. So I'm writing about Mr. Smith, who's recently undergone a total hip replacement, for example. And then in the second sentence, you want to include the current situation or what's happening now and what you want the reader to do. So that encompasses the purpose of the letter, which you want to make immediately clear. So it would be something like, he's ready for discharge and requires your ongoing care. Or he's being transferred to your center for respite care. Okay, so thinking about what the current situation is, what you want the reader to do, and making that clear. So, what you want from the first paragraph of the OET letter is for the reader to pick it up and basically know roughly everything they need to know: the patient, the main medical issue, if appropriate, and what they need to do and why. Okay. Um, Hi, AC Janus. We've got any techniques in reading part A? Yes, Lots of techniques. Strategy is key for reading part A. So you've got the text booklet and you've got the question booklet. So the first strategy for reading part A is do not read the text. Sounds a little bit crazy for a reading test not to read, but you simply don't have time. So the thing to remember for reading A is you're not being tested on your ability to read for detail. You are being tested on your ability to find information fast, which is a key skill in a clinical setting. Yeah, if you're working on a ward and you need to find out what dosage you need to administer to your patient, you need to be able to find that quickly. So it's that kind of thing. So you're not reading for detail. So the first thing you do is don't read, but you have a brief look at the titles of the text and what kind of information is in each one. So, for example, if it's talking about management of a condition, if it's got information on medication, perhaps, if there's any tables, look at the headings, or if it's a graph, look at the axes, things like that. If there's any subheadings, look at that. So you have a rough idea of what's in each text. Okay, that's the first step, and that should take about 2 minutes maximum. The next thing you do is the matching task. So, this is the first task. There are many ideas out there that you should do this last. Some people are suggesting that, oh, go backwards because it's more, do the more difficult ones first. I would say this is not a good strategy to do. Do the matching task first. A, because it's easy and you get your points quickly, and B, because it really helps you know more about what's in the other texts. Okay, so if you do the matching tasks, in which text can you find information about the dosage of amoxicillin or whatever? Oh, okay, that's in the table, it's text B, and you write B. So you can go quite quickly with this one, and it might give you an indication as to more information in the text to help you with the next task. So do the matching task, do it without looking unless you need to. And you want to be doing this in under 5 minutes, okay? Leaving you with 10 minutes for the remaining questions. So then you do the short answer questions and the gap fill sentences, okay? And the strategy is the same for both of them. You need to ask yourself 3 questions. What am I looking for? So, what's the answer basically? Is it a medical condition, a number, something like that? What words and phrases are going to help me find the answer? So, the keywords in the question or sentence. Which text am I going to find the answer in? A, B, C, or D. So, those are the 3 things. What am I looking for? What words or phrases will help me find the answer? Which text do I need to look in? So, those 3 questions, then you go to the text, scan for the answer, write it down, move on. If you can't find it within a minute, just move on. You simply don't have time to waste in reading A. Remember, you've got 20 questions and 15 minutes. So that is less than a minute per question. Okay. Any other questions? Please put in the comments box wherever you're watching us from. Okay, let's have a little look. Okay. Hi, Nachi. Good afternoon. Help with part B and C reading. Yeah, again, these are the multiple choice questions. You're in Zambia. Nice. Welcome. So, yeah, part B and C, they are difficult. The key thing with part B and C is understanding the question. Okay, so make sure you know what they're asking you, underline any keywords. If it's a sentence rather than a question, for example, I don't know, the I don't know, the policy tells us that in cases of um incorrect dosage administration, a nurse should, that's not a question. Turn it into a question. What should a nurse do in case an incorrect dose has been administered. Yeah, and that will help you focus on what answer you need to find. Okay, so make sure you understand the question or turn it into a question to help you focus. And then for reading part B, I would suggest look at the question first, then read the paragraph, and then look at the options. Okay, eliminate any obvious incorrect answers and then choose the one that you think is correct, referring back to the question to make sure that that option is answering the question. Okay, because ideas might be mentioned but not answering the question. And it's the same strategy for reading part C. Um, some people like to read the options before they read the text. That's also a possibility. I would say try both strategies and see which one works best for you. I know some of my students don't like to read the option first because they find it distracting. Um, so a lot of them like to read the paragraph first so that they have an understanding of what the paragraph is saying and they're not distracted by the options. Okay. Any other questions? Anything OET? Right. Okay, I've got a question about listening C, and that is how can I keep my place in listening C? It's really hard listening C. Um, to keep your place, especially in the presentation. In the interview, what you can do is use the interviewer's questions to keep your place. They normally match the questions that you have in the question paper. But for the presentation, you need to work a little bit harder and you need to use signposting phrases. So these are phrases that indicate that the topic is changing or that the answer is coming up. Okay, so often it will talk about a sample an example patient that they had. Why does the writer tell the story of Linda? Yeah. And then in the audio, they might say, I had this patient, let's call her Linda. You go, ding, okay, question number 35 is coming up. So you need to use that to keep your place. Okay. And hi, Fatima. I have a question here. Can I have a blank paper with me during the speaking test? You can't have a blank paper with you, but you can have you'll have the roll card with you and you can make a few notes on the roll card and underlying things in your preparation time, and you can then look at that roll card throughout the role play. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think that concludes all the questions we have for today. Okay, if you want help with your OET preparation, please go to our website, www.specialistlanguagecourses.com. See how we can help you. We've got online courses to do for self-study. We've got practice tests, things like that. So please do visit our website and see how we can help you with your OET preparation. Those of you joining on YouTube are probably already subscribed. If you're not, please do, because we've got loads of videos coming up soon to help you achieve OET success. Okay. If you've got your exam coming up this Saturday, best of luck. Stay focused. If not, we will be here same time next month, every month, the last Wednesday of every month, 12 o'clock UK time. Okay, hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.